Hello, folks. Kyle here from the Plucking Petals podcast. You know, the podcast that you are listening to right now. Anyways, I just want to let you know that this episode right here is the absolute first episode that we ever recorded. It's our kind of our dry run episode to see how we would like doing this and whatnot. And there are slight audio issues, mainly my fault. Not even mainly, it's my fault. I don't know how to use GarageBand well at the least bit. So yes, there are a little bit of echoey and some minor issues, but you guys have a good new year, and we'll be back very soon with some more likes, dislikes, and very bad stories from yours truly. Have a good one. Hello, folks. Welcome to the absolute first episode of Plucking Petals with James and Kyle. I am Kyle.
I'm James. You will probably never hear this. This will be lost in the archive somewhere while we work out the bugs, but I am excited to get the ball rolling.
Good.
As we go a little something like, little something like this.
It's all about the good, bad, love, hate.
Well, let's just start off, since you wanted to start this podcast initially. Let's start off with, we should probably explain what this podcast will be doing.
Okay, so whenever I see a movie or anything, and then afterwards, I feel like I always have complaints to the point that people are like, man, he's not fun to do things with, even if I like the movie.
True.
So, for example, like I just saw Mad Max, the new one. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. But I had some complaints about it, and so I'm like, man, I'm really coming off as negative.
This is true.
So the idea was to kind of bring together the relationship between liking and disliking things. So that's kind of where this stemmed from. And blatant ripoff of Maddox's podcast, but
no big deal.
It's I think it's going to be interesting if we can get this down right.
Well, I mean, we got all the Mac set up and whatnot finally in the library, so clearly we can't say too many swears in this room. But basically what's going to happen is James and I will bring to the table one like and one dislike per week, depending on our schedules. We would like to release this once a week because having a schedule is nice and kind to our viewers of one or two people. Hello out there. I appreciate you. James, what is your first like for this week?
Well, I was thinking the low-hanging fruit, if you want to get easy views on the internet, is video games.
Okay.
So I brought in the PlayStation 4 game Bloodborne because I really liked it.
Okay, and what, for our two viewers, what is Bloodborne?
It is, I don't know, it falls into that adventure category that they give games where they don't know where to put what else. But It is the newest game from the Dark Souls guy. So it's not an actual sequel to Dark Souls because this one has... Instead of everything being souls like in Dark Souls, it's now blood. It's blood is your upgrade system. It's your money. It's your everything. Blood is everywhere in this game.
Okay, and describe this game a little bit. I mean, I know what it is a little bit, but other people may not know. So describe what goes on in this game. What's the idea? You know, Dark Souls doesn't tell me much.
Yeah. So it's kind of a third person, so you have the camera over the back of the shoulder role-playing game because you can level up your character into different attributes. And so they are notorious for being incredibly hard. They are unforgiving. You die a lot.
This is true.
In fact, when they re-released Dark Souls with the DLC included, it was called the Prepare to Die edition. They know this is how this game works. And yes, you die a lot. But it's kind of... like, it punishes you for mistakes. Now, the games in general, I think, are pretty fair. Maybe Dark Souls 2, not as much. There was some hit detection problems. But on the most part, when you're like, hey, I died, it wasn't because I couldn't see what I was doing because the camera was bad or I didn't understand the rules of this situation. It was just, oops, I tried to go for that extra attack when I shouldn't have, and he hit me in the face with his giant club, and now I'm a corpse. So that's what's enjoyable about them, is you keep trying until you just get it right. And it's reached the point that I was excited to beat the game, but now you have people that beat it in 45 minutes on Twitch like every day. And
I saw this article today about this guy who beat Bloodborne without ever taking a health potion.
That seems hard.
What the fuck? how are these people doing this? I don't understand. Because I played Dark Souls for about 4 hours, and I just kept dying and dying and dying and hating myself and getting lower self-esteem. So why do you like these games, and why should people play these games?
So I have some notes here. I'm going to be nerdy.
Okay.
The guy who made them, I'm not going to pronounce this because I've
tried anyways.
I do not speak Japanese. Hidetaka Miyazaki.
That sounds good to me.
So basically, he is the driving force behind these games. And he got his start as a child. He was a poor child, and he loved reading Western fiction. But his English sucked. Like, he couldn't speak English.
Okay.
So as he's reading these fairy tales with knights and giant suits of armor and giant swords, he has to fill in a lot of the, blanks himself. And so that is the kind of, like, storytelling and atmosphere he brings to these games. Where there's just, like, tons of hidden lore. You can fill in the gaps yourself, and there's like giant exquisite castles and knights and environments you have to traverse and like wind back on each other. And it's just, you can tell it wasn't like, hey, we're a big studio, just pump out our yearly or bi-yearly release to get the paycheck. He's like, this is something I want to do with my free time. Let's make this and let's make it good. And so I think, yeah, this is carried on with Bloodborne. Like, I never played Demon Souls, and I know I really need to get to. That loses me some credibility on this point, but I loved the hell out of Dark Souls.
Yes, you did.
And then Dark Souls 2 was fun, but you could tell that this Miyazaki guy was not a part of it. It felt a little video gamey, and I don't know how I can use that as a bad thing, but it was like there was the fire castle level, and then you climbed up, and there was like the wind guy level. It's just... Hey, we have the checklist.
Separated. Yeah.
The checklist. It didn't flow together. But what I like about Bloodborne is it brought back that Dark Souls feel of, while it's a little smaller, there's like maybe 3/4 the places to go. It brought back that feel of like the areas are connected, and you see like this awesome giant chapel in the background. You can't get there because there's this gate blocking the way, but eventually you find your way around, and then that's the next environment you're in. It's not just an elaborate backdrop. And in fact, like, the environment itself tells this story. Like, the premise of Bloodborne is basically the Van Helsing, everyone's turning into werewolves.
Okay.
And there was this church called the Healing Church, and they tried to cure people of diseases using this blood that's kind of mysterious. I didn't really figure out, and this led to this curse of people turning into werewolves.
Well, that's never good.
And you can actually see, like, outside this church, there's like these gates that you can only be opened from the inside, and like this lore and the weapons of the hunters that used to go out, but then eventually they just realized they were losing. And so, like, the actual entrance to this place is barred off completely because it just shows you how hopeless it is. And it's like that kind of subtle storytelling. If it were other people, it would just be like
all in your face.
Some calm girl in your ear, explaining exposition to you.
Navi, the hey, listen, or just someone trying to call you over the radio, something like that.
Yes.
So you highly recommend this game to anyone?
So I don't know. So I think as far as video games go, even if one's not in your genre, like the actual linchpin ones are something you should play. So, like, even if you don't like RPGs or you don't like fighters, I mean, I think this is a good one. But honestly, in the franchise, I think the one everyone should play is Dark Souls.
Okay, the first one?
Yeah, the first Dark Souls.
Okay, so you're bringing Bloodborne as your like, but you're actually telling us, in the end of it all, that you should be playing Dark Souls out of any of them.
Yes, that is true. But Bloodborne is really fun, and it is different enough that it doesn't feel like a direct sequel, but it carries over what are the core components. The biggest actual gameplay difference is that in Dark Souls you have a shield, and everything's kind of about being really waiting for that right moment to strike. You have the shield up, and then almost every time when you're like, I think I can get one more attack on this boss before he unstaggers and hits me in the face, you're always wrong and you die. But in Bloodborne, they actually, if you take damage, there's a small window where you can attack again and get that health back, and also you don't have a shield, you're carrying a firearm. So this is all about being aggressive. And so that kind of instinct you get from Dark Souls about like, all right, I need to take this very slow with my shield up is wrong. It will get you killed because you need to... So that little twist definitely makes it different. And actually, I like the art style of this one a little more, but I guess it was because it's next gen.
It's very gothic. It's on the PS4. I mean, it looks pretty good. It's what, 1080p now for the PS4? I don't know. I don't know what it is. But okay, so you're saying that, from what I'm gathering, is that these games are for people who need to be perfect within the game, because it sounds like if you screw up at the least bit, you die. And I know that because I played Dark Souls, and I was not perfect at anything I did, and I died all the time. So is that the type of person who should be playing this game, or just everyone should try to experience this game in some capacity?
I think everyone should give it a shot, because what it gives you that a lot of other games don't anymore is a sense of achievement. When you beat that boss finally, it feels so freaking good. So many games right now, like I'm playing The Witcher 3, it's solid. I'm playing through the story.
Okay.
But like I got stuck on this boss because I didn't have any potions left, no alcohol to refill my potions, and I'm just kind of wounded going into it.
Alcohol is health in that game?
No, alcohol is not health.
Damn
but
it.
if you craft a potion, you can replenish it if you have alcohol in your inventory, so you don't have to make it again.
Okay.
But like I just couldn't beat the boss physically because like the stats weren't there. Like it would take me 45 minutes without getting hit.
Gotcha.
So I like talked the difficulty down, and it's just like, well, I did this because I wanted to keep going the progression, but it's kind of like artificial difficulty. It's like, well, we just kind of tweak the numbers that you do.
We just give them more health,
yeah.
or you do less damage. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what I like about those games, is that sense of achievement. Have you ever played Shovel Knight?
I have not.
No, it's fantastic. I recommend it. It's kind of like a Mega Man DuckTales thing.
So I would also be bad at this game too. I am awful at Dark Souls. I'm awful at Mega Man. These games, when they, that precision stuff, I'm just not good at. But I play Counter-Strike, and I can just shoot a bunch of things in the air with my M249. I have 100 shots around. So
you got to buy the Negev. The M249 is not how you do this.
No, not with that attitude. You can snipe with it if you just believe hard enough. That's all.
Just bring the extra cash, get the Negev. Do you play Go? Counter-Strike Go?
A little bit. I'm not good at it. Once again, I play all these games. I'm not good at them by any means, but I like playing them because they're fun. So you're saying that I should buy a PS4 and I should throw down a Bloodborne and I should hate myself for a while to beat this game. How long is this game?
I think I beat it in 28 hours.
28 hours.
And I found out afterwards, because I tried to go through blind, not looking anything up.
Okay.
And I found out afterwards I missed about 2 of the bosses and 8 of the weapons. And
how did you miss 2 of the boss? So there
are optional bosses.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Wow. I don't know. That sounds way too intense for me, and I can't. I mean, you've seen me play Dark Souls. Yeah. I'm awful. It's okay.
But so was I. So was everyone. And like, I assume you're like me. I've been playing games my whole life, and I'm not very good, but I'm going to be better than most people because I've been doing this since I was 12. I'm not sure.
You have that gamer instinct. You kind of just have that feel of your hands and how that all works, I guess. And yeah. All right, fine. I'll come over your house and play Bloodborne sometime.
Well, you have Dark Souls. Just beat Dark Souls.
I know, but I don't want to. It hurts. Maybe I'll do it this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, just get on your computer, get the Dark Souls fix, because the Dark Souls PC port is a pile of garbage.
Yes, it is.
And thank God for whatever unpaid mega fan in one night figured out how to make it better, and on top of that, make it 1080p and 60 frames per second, and did it for free. He's like,
that guy.
Here's this thing. Everyone has this now.
Way to go. I don't know what his name is. I'm not going to look it up because I
don't care.
It's not worth it,
Nope.
But you did really good and you did not get paid for it. So it is definitely a fan service, and we thank you for your modification.
Yeah. So go play Dark Souls.
Well, I guess we'll talk about my like then. We'll just go back and forth like this. My like for this week is the movie theater experience.
Yeah, I know we touched on this briefly. Let's hear your pros.
We talked about this while we were trying to set up the episode in your apartment, and we realized that you cannot plug 2 USB microphones into a PC and have it work right. We had hardware issues, so now we're at a library somewhere.
Although I Googled my motherboard, and it should have 2 audio DCs.
That's right. It looks like
so
it
should have worked, but I don't know how we didn't get it to work.
Whatever. We'll use your mixer sometime. Anyways, I also recently saw Mad Max, and I love the shit out of it. It was fantastic. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the idea of going to the movie theater, driving to the movie theater, looking up showtimes, going there, buying the tickets, waiting in line to get the popcorn, the drinks, and the pretzels and all that stuff, finding your seats, relaxing, Me personally, taking my shoes off, not caring who else is around, and putting my feet up. I love the movie theater experience beyond comprehension. It is so much fun. I mean, I don't understand when you have such a problem with the movie theater. Like,
yeah, I do not agree with this at all. In fact, you just admitted you take your shoes off, and that disgusts me.
Yeah, that's fine. I wear clean socks all the time.
That's fine. These are the second pair of socks I went through today, and they're already gross.
I put on a new pair of socks before I came here because I'm a good person. I take my shoes off when I record too. I have a lot of shoeless activities that I do. But the lights go down, the screen is huge, the sound system is fantastic. If you go to the right theater, they have even a bigger screen. Like, what? I don't understand how you could not like that.
So you wait in line, which is one of the things I think is the most infuriating in the world.
Okay,
and then
you can do the Fandango thing.
Yeah, I guess you could do the Fandango thing. So all right, I'll eat that one and say fine. It's not a problem. That I could work around that. But then concessions are overpriced. But I just sneak food in all the time anyway if I'm going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it's breaking their rules. They could throw you out for that.
They could. I've worked in a movie theater for 7 years. I've never thrown out anyone for food. I've told them they had to eat in the lobby once, and I have actually gotten food from someone as a payment to let them into the theater. So they had a bag of Taco Bell, and they bought the tickets, and I said, you can't come in with a Taco Bell, but I said, if you give me 2 tacos, I won't say anything. I had dinner for free that night. So it was awesome.
You were like those guards in RPGs that are or those bandits that are
you get bribed.
There's a tax.
It's awesome. I just got 2 cheesy gorditas. Who cares? Life is grand. Okay, so you miss the line, you get the popcorn. So what's wrong?
So all right, maybe this is just because I live on Shaker Square and the theater is old. I get it's vintage because that word doesn't have a meaning. But
you're talking about the Cedar Lee Theater?
Not the Cedar Lee Theater, the one off of Shaker Square. It is literally if you just walk down from my apartment.
Okay, I don't think I've been there. So.
Yeah, but they never get the temperature right. 3 out of 4 times, regardless of what time of year it is, I'm sweating my ass off.
What is the right temperature for you in a theater?
You should be a little cold.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess what people can... I don't know. You know how at night, even if it's super hot outside, I like having a layer of covers over me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I counted that temperature of I want the layer of covers. I would like to... I don't know. That's what I think's good in a movie theater.
You should always bring a hoodie to a movie theater, by the way, guys. Pro tip.
Well, how else do you slip the food in?
Yeah, exactly. Or a big purse. It doesn't matter. Or a trench coat. Whatever you need to do.
And then I always get the seat with the broken armrest or sticky, and then I always get the tall group of teenagers in front of me that talk the whole time, and I have a hard time seeing over. So that's what I don't like about it.
Does this happen often to you?
I feel like every time. When we saw Mad Max, there was a group of teenagers, and they literally ended at the seat in front of me, and I got the guy that was 6'5" in front of me.
Oh,
and I'll admit, as far as teenagers go, they really didn't talk that much.
Yeah.
But I'll get a lot of time you get very talkative like teenagers or other groups of people, and it's just...
So, I mean, yeah, sometimes you'll get those groups, and that's just... Some people just think that's okay to talk and text in a movie theater, and they just don't care. But I don't think it should ruin the movie theater experience. Hearing, I don't know, just being with a group of people and seeing a movie for the first time is magical. It's just, it makes you feel so good. It makes you feel part of a community, that you all are experiencing this one thing together in the same room and no one's dying. I think
do people die often in your other activities? Or?
It depends on what we're doing and what day of the week. And sometimes people do die in the movie theater or oftentimes get hurt, especially if they're old people. But that should not deter you from the fact of their screams that they've broken their hip from Mad Max, because it's awesome and it's loud and it can drown out the sound of them. So you just like watching a movie at home then?
I do. Okay. And then especially because... I don't know, what if I have to pee? Or what if there's a phone call I actually do have to take? Which never happens, who are we kidding?
But yeah, no one gets phone calls anymore.
Well, I'd use my phone.
This is true. You are one of the only people that actually calls me when I text you, and then you actually call me back. And that's creepy and at the same time charming, and I really appreciate it.
So I texted more back in the day when you had actual keyboards.
Yeah.
But that's gone by the wayside. Something about touchscreens are so inaccurate that every third word I have to come back and make a correction or something that I hate typing. So
I get you.
Yeah, I don't like texting. I get the need. It's great for a quick back and forth, but I would rather call someone if it's going to be more than 2 texts from each person. Just make the phone call.
No, I agree. I like doing the text message for a quick update, like telling you today, hey, I'm going to be here at this and this time. Boom. But anything longer than that, I'm going to have to call you and explain what's going on, because clearly I'm going to waste too much time typing on my freaking phone and getting carpal tunnel. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about movie theaters and why you prefer to sit at home and not be a part of this community of moviegoers.
You have people over. You can actually have alcoholic beverages. Well, I guess you can at the Cedar Lee.
I was going to say, the Cedar Lee has it, and then the AMCs now have full bars.
So
granted,
that's
they're expensive,
really
and also
expensive.
you can sneak stuff in.
Yeah, that's true.
You know how many beer cans I found in children's movies? A lot. Parents don't care. No, adults don't care. They can just sneak whatever they want in. It's perfect. It's adult life.
Yeah, adult life. I think part of the problem is I cannot remember the last movie that I genuinely loved. But I can, like, as far as like television series goes, I'm like way more on board with that right now. I just feel like it's where all of the new and interesting ideas are. I didn't even see Age of Ultron because I just have such like freaking apathy for all of the superhero movies.
Just low expectations at this rate.
There's so much of I cannot stand to see another origin story or like the money shot of like everyone in a big circle and it's
we're gonna do this. So I don't know how to phrase this correctly, but so it's just, is it a money thing too, that you're like, I'm spending money, it should be a good movie that I like and I'm going to enjoy? What made you go to the theater to go see Mad Max?
My two buddies invited me and I was interested enough in it. And that's not, all right, that particular one I don't regret. I like that movie. I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a good theater action movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know why people interpreted like a super feminist message from it. I've heard that. Like, okay. Sure.
Yeah, the Menimists or whatever, we're talking about how it's a too female driven and they didn't like that, but
I didn't actually hear that side. That side's crazy.
Yeah, they're like, this is too female driven and Mad Max is supposed to be about Mad Max and he was just a side character and
I thought it was
like false prophet
and it's been forever since I saw The Road Warrior, but I thought Max was just a pair of eyeballs for like another story that was happening.
I always thought that too. Like that was I felt like he was the audience in the fact that like he didn't have too much of a personality and the fact that, you know, we can just transport in him and he is our eyes of this world.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be the Slate. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with that at all. I will say I did have a problem with Charlize Theron's character in the fact that everyone else at least tried to do like an Australian accent. And isn't Charlize Theron from South Africa? Come on, give me something. Don't just speak in like a calm, soothing American accent.
Maybe she wanted to do something different. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Tom Hardy didn't really sound that Australian either.
I don't know what, but he was like grumbling,
grumble. I mean, he sounded a little Australian, but it was also just grumble, so it doesn't matter.
And then I did have this problem, but at least kind of gave a so Charlize Theron's a pretty good looking woman.
Okay. I have to agree.
And she's the only woman that you see that's not one of the brides or not one of the milk people.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, how the hell did she get to the position where she's, like, in charge of her own convoy? And I was like, that was driving me crazy, but at least raised this idea that she was a mother and she gave 3 kids that weren't healthy. And then so she kicked her out of that. I don't know, but at least it's an idea that I can grasp.
I like that. That could make sense. I mean, her arm's gone. So what do we don't know much about anything that's going on in that world.
And she did seem like really invested in getting these girls free, not just as like a I want to help people, but like she could relate to it.
This is like my goal, and I will do anything to make sure these people are safe.
So that was the problem I had with the movie that has been explained away. So I just want to prove that I'm malleable on my opinions. Yeah.
So what drives you to a movie theater then? Because if you see Mad Max, I'm assuming you've seen another movie previously in a theater as opposed to seeing it at home. What drives you to the theater even though you don't like it?
Okay, the last really positive experience I can remember having at the movie theater was the Dark Knight release.
Okay. That's years ago.
I know, right?
But that's fine.
My one buddy dressed up as, the Joker, like really well done. And my big buddy, Steve, he roasted pig with me. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember Steve.
He wore a Batman costume on top and then shorts and flip-flops. So we called him Beach Bum Batman. But
Perfect.
That was that was a fun experience. And like people like clapped and were excited. But like other than that, I mean, I'm just so worn out with all the boring action flicks. And then I feel like if it was a movie that was interesting and something I actually want to think about, I'd almost rather see that at home so I have time to like compress and then decompress and think about it. But yeah, that, and I have like a pregnant woman's nose and everyone just smells bad that's out in public.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That was the name of my band in high school, was Pregnant Woman's Nose.
Seriously?
No, not at all. I don't play instruments. Let's talk about your dislike this week.
I guess they are. I wrote that as next-gen consoles, but I guess they're current-gen consoles now.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since we had this idea for this podcast.
Yeah. So the Xbone, the PS4, and I guess the Wii U. I don't really know anything about that one.
I mean, the Wii U came out, way before all of them did?
It was like a solid year before, and it brought, I think, nothing to the table, but at least it tried to be a games console and didn't say it was like, multimedia experience. How are the games, like, as good as a 7-year-old computer? Oh, cool.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I love Yoshi's Adventure again and again and again.
Yeah.
Why not reinvent the wheel? We don't need to. So why don't you like current gen consoles then?
I don't know why they exist. The hardware upgrades were not really enough to bring it to the table.
Okay.
And part of the thing is, I love frames per second over resolution anyway. Now, ideally, everyone wants like 4K and 120 frames per second.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, 4K doesn't matter if you have a 22-inch monitor. But
well, yeah, of course. Yeah, you get the idea.
But honestly, like, people always go for, if we can choose between 1080p or 60 frames per second, we're going to go 1080p with a locked 30. And the difference between 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second is very noticeable. And especially like Bloodborne is locked 30 frames per second. Mm-hmm. And this is a game that's core mechanic is quick reflexive combat.
Yeah.
That matters. And then if you do the thing where you do the co-op with your buddies, which is really fun, but you get a lot of enemies and 2 buddies, and all of a sudden it drops to like 15. It's really obnoxious. And before you say human brain can't tell the difference, they did this study with Navy pilots, and out of 260...
Those are my favorite kind of pilots, by the way.
260 frames, in 1 second they flashed at him. 1 out of these 260 had a picture of a fighter jet. And not only could the pilot say, yes, you showed the jet in that go of this test, but it was like a MiG of whatever. I don't know the name of a plane, but they were able to identify the planes.
Okay.
So just it matters. But it's like, it's a non-linear increase. Like the difference between 30 and 60 is much bigger than the difference between 60 and 120, and then 120 to 240, even less of a difference for the amount of computing power it takes. It's just not worth doing. So just give me 60. Now, ideally, I want 60 1080p. And so the fact that these consoles can't do that, I don't know if that's a shortcoming of the hardware or just developers aren't used to it yet. Mm-hmm. But they've been around a couple years now, and where are our games? Like,
this is true.
PS4, I think, has Bloodborne. That's it.
I mean, they had that Order game, but that was, 3 hours long?
The cutscene, 66, yeah.
Yeah, no one cares. I mean, I have an Xbox, and I have a couple games for it, but all I do is play Worms. That was a free download when I have gold. So
that's not even free. I get those too. I have the PS4 one.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've gotten some fun games I liked out of that.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one I've been playing.
But they're older.
They're older.
But, they're more fun than the games coming out currently. Like, I have Halo, and it's still not working. I love Halo.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Things. It's still not working right. It's still lagging. And it's been out for over a year now. Like, ugh.
Yeah, you think they'd be able to get this shit down, but they do not.
No, why not? Why wouldn't they? 'Cause they don't believe.
Yeah, so I just don't understand why this console generation was made. Honestly, until they can get the hardware to the point where, like, it's just better. I mean, I don't know super amount of computers is looking. They have 8 gigs of memory and, I don't know, 2 gigs of visual memory. But
yeah.
I don't know why I can't do, like, more with that. Or if you can. And I get that you need something that someone can buy for $400 and have in their living room. But just wait, the 360 was fine. It doesn't even look that much worse than what we have now.
No, and the Xbox One only goes up to 720, I believe. Doesn't even go to the 1080 mark. So they're still even farther behind on that. But I can plug my cable box into my Xbox.
And you can say Xbox on.
Yeah, I don't have the Kinect, unfortunately. So I have to, like, hit the button.
Doritos, do it right.
Yeah, it's not as fun as being Tony Stark of the Xbox. So, well, what else don't you like about the consoles? I mean, we play PC games too, clearly.
So the last gen of consoles were pretty good. I had a lot of good 360 games, but I think the heyday of it was like N64, where you actually had 4 people together, and it was actually like a console you had together. You would play Mario Kart, Smash, Mario Kart. I guess they're all actual Nintendo properties.
Mario Kart twice?
Did I say Mario? I meant Mario Party.
Okay, I think you said Mario Kart twice. I'm like, it's a good game. I don't know if I should mention it twice, but
it just like then you actually hang out with the people and you eat gross food, and then that's what I want out of a console. And so I guess in that sense the Wii U is doing it the best because it has the new Mario Kart and like the new Smash and like they remembered, hey, we're a games console first, and
they're a couch. It's a couch console as opposed to Xbox and PS4 that are just like everything has to be online. I only own Worms and a couple of fighting games that are only couch games.
I think I just thought of a better way to articulate this, where the Xbox and the PS4 tried to be computers, and they are crappy computers.
This is true.
At least the Wii U tried to be a games console, but there's not a lot of third-party support, so you only have the big Nintendo games, and just not a lot of them are out yet.
Yeah.
So that's just why I think this generation is poopy. Poopy.
Of course.
I want to hit as many P sounds as I can because I don't have my screen
That's
there.
right. No pop filter on. I got a pop filter because I'm a recording adult. I guess we'll just go into my dislike, which would be movie theater guests. I hate the people who go to the movie theater.
But that's like half of what I don't like about movie theaters.
Exactly. That's the problem, because I love the experience of going to movie theater. I love sitting with the people, but I also hate every single person in that room with me, and especially if they're talking or they're texting.
Kids. I hate kids.
Oh, kids or babies. People bring babies to movie theaters and they start crying.
Wow, loud noises and incredibly deep resonating bass. Oh no, it upset my little baby's ears and he's crying. Well, I'm just going to sit here and ignore it.
Yeah, and they'll ignore it, or they'll walk up and down the stairs. So you just hear that droning and drone. It's not going to get any better than.
And you get that weird effect of there's the lights on the stairs and they're like being blocked in just one area where she's walking.
Exactly. So it screws up your iPhone. You can't focus on the movie that's at hand. You have to focus on the baby that's screaming and the mom who's being a bad mom, or father who's being a bad father. There's also, that also happens. But yeah, like I can't stand teenagers at movie theaters. I have almost gotten into several fights at movie theaters because if people are talking, I will tell them to shut up. I will tell them to be quiet. I'm pretty nice the first time. After that, that's when I start swearing, and that's when I start getting pretty aggressive. That was also back in the day when I worked there, and I could get away with a lot of that more, but also I've done that recently too, and people have threatened to beat me up and kick my ass.
What kind of person is like, hey, I am disturbing the peace? Someone told me that what I was doing is not okay. The logical, righteous thing I can do right now is just start punching them.
Yeah.
Like, that is an adult and mature decision. This is what we should be doing in a society where you have iPhones and are watching giant pixels on a screen about a man in an iron suit shooting fireballs out of his hands.
That's right. I just can't, it baffles me I don't know. It just, these people are so dumb sometimes. But I love going, so it's like a love-hate relationship. It's like
so did you get a job at a movie theater because you liked going to movies, or do you like going to movies because you worked at a theater for 7 years?
I like going to the theater because I like going to the theater. The fact that I worked at the movie theater only helped me see more movies.
Oh, fair enough.
And that's why I did it. I saw free movies all the time. I got my friends into movies. I got my family into movies. I took dates there. I took dates to other theaters and got free tickets. It is awesome.
It is a real safe date.
It is. It's a very safe date.
Because you get to spend time with the person, but you don't have to explore each other's personalities for like 2 hours.
And why do you think during the holidays, so during the holidays, it's the most hectic time of the year for movies.
Yeah, because people are like, I should spend time with my family, and then you're like,
don't want to fucking talk to them.
I hate my family.
That's right. We're going to go see Girl with the Dragon Tattoo for 2.5 hours.
Crazy, overly conservative uncle and my aunt that's like super vegan, and it just,
Exactly. It's a problem. So those people are a problem, but that's a good place. It's a good sanctuary. But the people who you don't go with are just like talking and they're running around, or the idea that someone is on their phone and then drops their phone and it goes down, it always goes down another couple levels, and like the lights on, it's such a distraction and it's such a problem, and it does make me want to go home and watch the movie at my house, which I oftentimes do now because I don't get free tickets anymore.
Yeah.
But there's some movies I will go out for, like Mad Max, stuff that I feel like needs to be on a huge screen. Like, for example, I just saw this movie yesterday called What We Do in the Shadows, which is a mockumentary about vampires all living together. It's with one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords. That's not a movie that I need to see in theaters. It's a movie that I'll watch, but I can watch it on my TV. But like Mad Max or like Pacific Rim or like I like those Avengers movies. Those movies are fun to see in the theater.
Well, I like the first one. I just didn't see the second one because I don't want to drop, what is it now, like $12 or something?
It depends on where you go and what time, but I would say average is about $10 now.
Yeah, I don't like spending double digits for a movie ticket. Exactly. I guess maybe I should get smarter and start going to matinees or something.
Those are nice. The Cedarly has good matinees and good midnight movies too. I love seeing old movies in theaters too. Like I saw Breakfast Club last year there, and that was awesome. They show like Alien and Predator, and they do all that. Like that's kind of cool. But like, I also like going to the Cedarly as opposed to other big movie theaters because it's more niche, a niche market. So like those people want to be there, and therefore will shut up. But if you go to a bigger chain like a Regal or AMC, anyone goes to those because they don't feel intimidated by the movies there, so they're gonna talk more.
Oh yeah, we don't. It's not really IMAX, just that one in Valley View that has like a million screens.
That XD theater is awesome, by the way.
So maybe this is part of the reason I hate going to movies so much, but I love the book Ender's Game. It is so good. And then I heard nothing about the movie other than they made a movie. We went to the Valley View Theater. Kids everywhere scream loud, getting everything sticky, and the movie was a flaming pile of garbage. And I just was like,
okay.
No, you're wrong.
I never read the book.
You're factually wrong. You are.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
This is not like an opinion. All right, I get your opinion that you like the movie theater experience. It's my opinion that I don't. Factually, Ender's Game is a bad movie.
That's fine. Yeah. It was enjoyable. Whatever. Whether or not it's a bad movie is another story. But yeah, just the kids and all. Oh God. It's giving me like a headache just thinking about the kids running around and screaming and just sneaking into theaters and just.
Why are kids always sticky? So like, my girlfriend's mom's new boyfriend has 2 kids. I know it's really contrived.
Gross.
They were in our apartment for freaking less than an hour. I wasn't there. I went out grocery shopping to avoid it. When I came back, there's a freaking sticky spot on the floor.
Ew.
They were in there for less than an hour and they just get everything sticky. I wish there was a way to make more people without making kids. Like, can we skip that step?
We can do cloning. I mean, it worked. You ever see that CW series, Kyle XY?
You still got to grow them up. If you clone, maybe you can do it faster so their kid's shorter, but if you make a clone, it's still got to grow.
What if you like Benjamin Button it? Does that help?
They get old.
Does that make it right?
I don't know.
I don't think it makes it right.
See, I don't know. I don't know if what I hate about kids is the fact that their brains aren't developed. I think that's definitely a big part of it.
Yeah. They just don't understand.
So maybe if you had like an old guy's brain in a kid's body, it wouldn't be as bad.
He'd still be little, and that's just kind of annoying. They can hide
it's
better.
Annoying, and they got those little squeaky voices, and they never really can bring themselves to say what they're thinking. I hate it. I hate kids. Don't make them.
Well, I think that's going to conclude our first episode, Alpha 1, or
the
whatever,
alpha test,
wherever the alpha test, whatever we're going to call it.
The bugs, you're going to get server crashes. What is that error message that was 38 all the time whenever we got Diablo 3 and bitched about it?
Exactly. Hey, we need to play Diablo 3 again.
No.
I want to play Diablo 3. It's going to be fun.
I actually heard it was, speaking of next gen or current gen consoles, I heard Diablo 3 was very good on the PS4 Expo because there's like a dodge feature, and then doing multiple people on a couch was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so
I've done it.
If it ever is not $60, I will probably pick that up.
Okay, we'll play it sometime. We'll stream it or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. once again, thank you guys for listening to our first episode. If we decide to even release this, thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. Thank you, someone else in this realm that will listen to this on iTunes or wherever, SoundCloud.
What's that feminist podcast? Maybe we can get them to be featured. Can we get featured on their show?
What does the Vixen say?
Is that it? Yeah.
I like to go through random podcasts and find weird random podcasts. And this one I just found recently called What Does the Vixen Say? It is all about a swinger couple, and it's interesting.
Is it a swinger male-female couple or a swinger female-female couple?
Male-female. And they're married and stuff. And yeah, I've only gotten 2 episodes in, and like I'm still listening, so I guess that's good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But well, everyone have a good day. I'm Kyle.
I'm James.
And this has been Plucking Petals.
As we go a little something like.
This has been the Plucking Petals podcast with James McConnell and Kyle Wertz. Produced by Patrick Stoops. Find us on Twitter at plucking_petals or email us at pluckingpetalspodcast@gmail.com.